What's up, everyone? It's the OOTP GM. I want to welcome you all to the 10th episode here of my Detroit Tigers GM Let's Play here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. So we are here back for the second part of the 2018 offseason, and before I get into the Rule 5 draft, I did want to show you guys a couple of things that have happened between the last episode and this episode. So we did get a couple of guys to sign free agency contracts with us. Micah Johnson signed with us for the 1 year, $950,000, and Arturo, last name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try. He signed the 2-year deal with us to join our bullpen. And one other thing I wanted to know too is I changed Johnson's position to left field. He's actually a better left fielder than second baseman, and his ratings actually improved when I did that. So that actually makes things a little bit more interesting in that regard. And then Trevor Rosenthal got another offer, so we had to up the money to him in order to, he favors the offer, so hopefully we'll get him to sign. And then I decided to offer Jonathan Scope, I think I mispronounced his name in the last episode. We offered Jonathan Scope a deal because right now, as things stand, Osmus would be starting Romine at short, and I don't want that. Scope is by default a second baseman, but he can play short, so that's the reason why I offered him a contract. So we would bring him in, and he would most likely take over that shortstop position, and we'd have Romine and some other guys to compete for the other spots on the team. So with that being said, and getting that stuff out of the way, we're going to go ahead and move into the Rule 5 draft. I already went through and I added the players that I wanted to take off the list. Some of the guys were tough decisions. I ultimately decided against guys like Spencer Turnbull and Gerson Moreno because I don't think those guys are going to get picked. Moreno is like right on the edge in terms of whether I would put him on the 40-man roster or not. I ultimately decided against it simply because there's a couple of guys I might look to draft in the Rule 5 draft. So if we go in here, and we're going to have the 6th pick because, as you know, we didn't have a very good year this year. And I was looking over the players, and let's go to all players here. And there were a couple of guys that caught my eye. The first one is Aaron Slegers. He's a 26-year-old starting pitcher. He would slot right in to our starting rotation immediately, and, I would be more than willing to give him a shot to see if he's only 26 years old. Maybe he could turn into something for us. So he was a guy I was looking at. This Rowan Wick, potentially. This DJ Davis is interesting, but he's only in high A, so we won't pick him up. I don't want to have a guy who's only been in high A on my major league roster for an entire season. And then this Josh Morgan down here is interesting because he can play 3 different positions. He can play second, third, and short, so he provides defensive versatility. And he hit really well last year in AAA. He hit .347 in AAA. So he's another guy that we might look to grab if he is available. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to go until next pick by Detroit. And it doesn't look like any of those guys were grabbed. So I'm going to grab Slegers with my first Rule 5 pick here. I'm going to draft him. And then we're going to until next pick by Detroit. And this Josh Morgan was not picked as well, so I'm going to go ahead and pick him as well. He's going to add extra depth to our organization. Again, I'm looking at Jonathan Scope. Obviously, I offered him a deal. The deal that I offered him is only for 2 years. It's 2 guaranteed years and then 2 team options. So if this Morgan guy is not quite ready, even though he has to stay on our major league roster if we draft him in the Rule 5 draft, he can always be a backup, or we'll kind of wait and see what happens during spring training. But I'm going to draft him as well. And then I don't believe there's anybody else that I'm going to look at. I was kind of going through the rest of the players, and there were a few guys that were tempting. Like this Rowan Wick was tempting to add to the bullpen because he had a decent year in AAA last year, but I'm not entirely comfortable picking him because the 2 guys that we picked last year didn't have particularly great years, and we already have guys we're looking to add through free agency. So we're going to go ahead and complete the draft here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll pause here and I will move forward. Alright guys, so we are back, and we are here at the Hall of Fame voting results, and before we get into that, I wanted to show you guys a couple quick things. So Justin Wilson got signed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, so the rich get richer, but we will get compensation for them. We will get their first round pick, or a supplemental first round pick, since they are the World Series champions. We'll most likely just get their first round pick, which will be at the end of the first round, but it still means we'll have extra selections going into next year because we obviously didn't sign our first round pick this year as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about was we've gotten into a little bit of a bidding war for Trevor Rosenthal. A bunch of teams keep upping the ante, and I really want to get Rosenthal in our rotation, or not in our rotation, in our bullpen. So I'm getting to a point where he's starting to get priced out for me, but I'd still like to get him in if I can. And then Jonathan Scope likes our offer, so hopefully he will sign with us. If we get outbid on him, I was looking at other guys, and if the number gets too high on him, there's other guys here that we could look to sign. There's Wilmer Flores, his number has started to come down. And there's Asdrubal Cabrera, whose number is a little bit high for my liking, but there are guys here that we could look to sign just as a short term. Even Jose Iglesias is still there. So there are guys that we could look to sign short term if we do, in fact, need a shortstop, if Scope does not sign that deal that we offered to him. But now that we are here at the Hall of Fame voting results, and Mariano Rivera is the only player elected this year, I was shocked when I saw this. Not that, obviously, Mariano Rivera does deserve to get elected, but Tomei misses out again, barely, for the second consecutive year. Vladimir Guerrero misses out. Todd Helton is not a unanimous selection in his first year. Halladay misses. And then, as I suspected, Edgar Martinez and Fred McGriff did not get elected. And a lot of these other guys, either were dropped off or, some pretty low numbers for some of these guys, like Roy Oswalt, 8.5, Andy Pettit, 12.6. So there's, like I said, I'm a bit surprised at some of these numbers for some of these guys. Even Kurt Schilling's numbers seem to be dropping, I think. So I'm a little bit surprised with Tomei and Guerrero, but I'm sure they'll get in eventually. I'm just surprised that they haven't gotten in already. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move forward again here, and I will catch up with you guys when we get another big development here for our team. Alright guys, so we are back, and almost immediately after I left you guys, Rosenthal did sign his contract with us, so I'm excited to have him join the team. And I'll just go ahead and move forward here real quick to the preseason. So obviously things starting to shape up for us next year, and Jonathan Scope signed his contract too, so we are pretty much set now at this point, I think, with everybody that we signed. I think we're pretty well set. Let's see if that moves him over. Yep. Or no. Okay, so they got Scope playing second, Morgan playing third, and he still has Romine playing short. I'm not happy about this at all. So what I'm gonna have to do is, obviously, Ausmus has total control over who plays where, but we'll have to see what happens during spring training, because I don't want Romine starting at shortstop. I know he's probably our best defensive shortstop, but he's a backup. He's not a starter. So we're gonna have to see what happens here. They have Morgan starting at third. And then obviously Castellanos is down here as our DH, but I'm not really happy about how this is playing out right now. So we're gonna have to, we'll have to see what happens during spring training, because obviously not all these guys are going to be on the roster. Some of them are going to be down in AAA or not on the roster at all. But we'll wait and see how it all plays out. We'll go from there. And then for pitching wise, they've got Arturo as our closer currently. And then Rosenthal would be a setup guy, and then Ross would be the other setup guy. Again, not all these guys are going to be on the roster. They got Sleggers in the bullpen currently, so we'll see how this all plays out after spring training gets done. But I'll go ahead and I don't anticipate making any more signings, so I will see you guys probably at opening day. I'll probably go ahead and move forward to opening day. I'll see you guys there. I'll show you guys what the team's going to be and go from there. So see you guys at opening day. Alright guys, so we are back here for opening day, and roster's all set, and everything is ready for us to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through the team, and we'll do the preseason predictions, and I also want to show you guys where we're at with our prospects and different guys as well. So we'll start with, go ahead and go through the pitching staff here. And because Francisco Liriano is on the DL to start the season, that's why Artie Lewicki is currently our number 5 starter. He actually had these are the spring training stats that these guys had. And Lewicki as a reliever had a pretty good spring training, but he's going to have to go into the year as our number 5 starter because Liriano is injured. Schlegers didn't have a great spring, but like I said, he's a Rule 5 guy, so we're going to keep him on the roster, see what he can do. The rest of the staff is not surprising: Fulmer, Norris, and Zimmerman. Arturo is our closer coming out of spring training. Rosenthal and Ross are setup men, and then we got Jimenez, Graham, second rider, and Stump round out the bullpen. We had to send some guys down because they didn't pitch very well, and we have some guys that are on waivers, so we'll kind of see what happens there. In terms of the lineup, Vasquez is still our starting catcher, even though Pentecost had a better spring. I'm a little disappointed in that. We may have to make some tweaks here because we do have a guy in the minors that's going to be ready to come up here pretty soon. Arvicent Perez. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, but he's going to be coming up here pretty soon. He might actually make his debut this year, so we'll have to see about Christian Vasquez, because he had a decent season for us last year. He did win a Gold Glove, but he didn't hit very good out of the spring. So we'll see what happens here in that regard. Obviously, Cabrera is our first baseman. We got Cody Eves as our starting second baseman. His ratings have really come up, so hopefully he can be a kind of a future star for us. And then they got Scope at shortstop, even though he's listed as a second baseman. They got him at shortstop. And then Castellanos is the odd man out here. They have Davidson starting at third base. He obviously had a really good spring, so I don't have a problem with them doing that. Then starting outfielders, you've got Upton, you've got Jacoby Jones, and Tyler Collins. Stewart is our DH. Castellanos is pretty much swapping in and out with him at the DH spot. And then we've got Romine and Micah Johnson as our backups. Josh, I believe it was, Josh Morgan, the guy that we took in the Rule 5 draft, he didn't play very well in the spring, and I actually offered him up in a trade, and I got some really good trade offers for him. And one of the guys I got in a trade offer was this AJ Minter, who's a potential, a guy who could contribute to us right away, potentially in the bullpen. I got him, and I got a young shortstop in a deal. So I'm excited about that. And, took a chance, and we'll kind of see where we get with the rest of these guys. And then I wanted to show you guys, I haven't given you guys an update recently on my prospects. So I wanted to go in here and show you guys the prospects. And unfortunately, some of them, their ratings have just nosedived. It's unfortunate, but that's the beauty of this game. Sometimes guys' ratings do that. So our number 1 prospect is still Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's the guy that we got in the Justin Verlander trade last year. And he's been kind of up and down. He played at Lakeland all of last year. He's going to start this year in Lakeland because he only hit .222 there last year, but he'll probably move up. I'll probably move him up quickly if he has success in Lakeland early in the year. We have Antonio Cabello, who was an international free agent signing for us. He is in Connecticut. He's in low A this year as an 18-year-old. So we will have him there. AJ Minter, the guy that we got in the trade, he's in AAA. Bo Burrows, ratings are starting to come back up. His ratings had kind of dipped, and then his ratings are starting to come back up, though. He's in AA. Matt Manning's ratings have dropped off quite a bit. I'm a little disappointed in that, but he had a really bad year last year at West Michigan, so we're going to start him there this year. Funkhauser's just about ready to probably make the Major League roster. Again, a lot of these guys' ratings, unfortunately, have taken quite a dip. Probably the most disappointing of them is Jeter Downs, who was our first-round pick just a couple of years ago. And he's only a 1-star guy now, according to Theo. And it's not like he's had bad years or anything. It's just, unfortunately, this is the way he's rated. Now, OSA is the same way. They only have him as a 1-star guy, so I'm really hoping this doesn't turn into a bust for us, because like I said, he has a really high work ethic, and his numbers haven't been all that bad. I'm kind of hoping that his numbers will rebound for us, because I drafted him to be our future shortstop, and his numbers just have not panned out. You can see what his ratings are supposed to look like, but unfortunately, he just hasn't panned out so far. So we've got him at high A this year. Hopefully he'll start to transition better for us, and we'll be able to get some more out of him. So, and then Kevin Abel was the guy that we drafted a few years ago. He's been a bust, just horrible bust, and that's about, there's not much you can do about that. So the rest of these guys I'll make some moves with them during the season, and hopefully some of them will start to come up through the system and pan out for us. So, alright, we'll go ahead and we'll look at how we did in the spring. We finished 13 and 15 in the spring. You don't want to put a ton of stock in spring training, but that was what we did. Cleveland and Minnesota both had the best record in the Central at 17 and 11. And in terms of preseason predictions, we are predicted for only 63 wins this year, so we are definitely in that sort of downward spiral to kind of rise from the ashes, so to speak. So hopefully this won't be a long, arduous rebuild. We'll be able to do it rather quickly. So we're only predicted for 63 wins. We don't have any hitters or pitchers who are projected for breakout seasons, which I was kind of hoping we'd have a pitcher over here. I wasn't expecting any hitters, but I was kind of hoping for a pitcher. That is not the case. If you look, Cleveland's projected for another really good year. For our teams in the Central here, they're projected for 96 wins. And then the two-time defending World Series champions, the Dodgers, are projected for the best record in baseball with 103 wins. And then we'll go ahead and we will look at the top prospects. So the top prospect in baseball this year is Eloy Jimenez, who is on the Chicago Cubs roster. If you guys remember, he just got traded in real life for Jose Quintana. And then Vladimir Guerrero cracks the top 30 for us. He is the 30th prospect in baseball. And then Max Pentecost is number 52. He doesn't have enough time in yet to not be considered a prospect. That's why he's still on this list. Those are the only hitters that we have that are in the top 100. And then in terms of pitchers, I don't know if we have anybody that cracks the top 100. I don't believe so. And we do not. We do not have any top 100 pitchers, which is really disappointing, like I said, considering we had guys like, and look, there's Faedo. So we could have had Faedo, but we went with Jeter Downs instead. So, you live and you learn. You make your best decisions, and that's why I like the talent randomness, because it puts a lot of randomness, I guess is the best way to put it, into booms and busts and stuff like that. So I like to do that. So player development, those are only top 100 prospects, Guerrero and Pentecost. Burrows looks like he's just outside of it. He would be our next rated prospect. So, alright, so that's pretty much us heading into the season here. And I want to thank you guys for watching this episode. And feel free to like and subscribe as always. Comments and feedback are welcome. And I will see you guys for the next episode, which will be the 2019 first year player draft. And as always, thank you for watching.